in office, with the G5 that is saying that we're not going to be voting or supporting Atiku. What is the configuration? What are the permutations? What is happening? And as I must tell you, as we speak, the other 4 members of the G5 are with the governor of Oyo State at Mako. He is launching his bid for re-election. So the other 4 members of the G5 are with him in Ibadan. What are the challenges? What are the consequences of his action? Can he go it solo? There is polarization. You know, there's the Atiku group in Oyo State. They did a walk a few days back. And all of that, my guests will be giving us a breakdown of the configuration. Before we go into the conversation, well, let's take political roundup.
Keep it 93.9.
This is the roundup. The Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, said it has set aside additional 8,809 bimodal voters accreditation system machines as backup that will be deployed across all the polling units nationwide for the 2023 elections. The National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Festus Okoye, disclosed this on Wednesday. According to Okoye, the Commission would deploy over 194,464 BVAS machines in 176,846 polling units across the country. Foremost legal luminary Afe Babalola said that Nigeria's forthcoming presidential election, slated for February 25, will be won by the highest spender and not the best candidate among the contenders. Babalola stated this at a media briefing in Ado-Ekiti on Thursday. He expressed worry that the 2023 general elections will be conducted under the 1999 Constitution against his advice, saying the poll will only reproduce those who have brought Nigeria to a sordid state. The All Progressives Congress APC presidential candidate Bola Tinubu is in Benin City, the Edo state capital, for the party's campaign rally. The APC's presidential campaign rally is scheduled to take place today at the Sam Ogbemudia Stadium, Benin City. Tinubu was accompanied by Governor Abdullahi Ganduje of Kano State and his Jigawa counterpart, Abubakar Badaru, alongside other APC national leaders. And now to Oyo State. Oyo State senatorial candidate under the flagship of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Joseph Tigbe, says he will not join the wagon of National Assembly representatives presenting motorcycles, tricycles as constituency projects should he emerge winner of the forthcoming polls. Tigbe, while speaking with journalists at his campaign office in Yematu Ibadan on Wednesday, said the best way constituency representatives can help empower their constituents is through micro, small and medium enterprises development, introduction of vocational studies and more.
Constituency projects. I don't know who brought the idea of just giving people Okada, and then you are increasing Okada boys to be riding, people that should be in school, they are riding Okada all over the place. I don't like it. Honestly, I don't support it. And that's why you see, if you look at this paper, one of the things I said there is empower MSME, empower people to set up their enterprises. Let's go back to vocational studies. Let's go back to skills acquisition. And I'm happy some of the things we are doing today in Nigeria. People never used to think that you could be an actress or actor and you'll be doing well. People never thought or confident enough to say they want to be a photographer. My uncle was a photographer. We are proud to say he's a photographer now. People carry cameras now that are worth 8 million naira. How many businesses even have a startup capital of 8 million naira? So for me, there are a lot of other things that can be done from a skills development point of view in the constituency projects.
Speaking on the internal crisis in the PDP, Engineer Tigbe also debunked insinuations that the G5 will endorse Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi during the second-term governorship flag of Engineer Seyi Makinde today in Ibadan, while stating that the crisis will be resolved soon as all warring parties will come together to win the election. Ibadan North Federal constituency candidate on the flagship of Labour Party, Femi Dexter, believes the game of numbers will come to play and favor Peter Obi in next month's presidential polls. Obi is one of the leading candidates running for the office of the number one citizen of the country, alongside APC's Bola Tinubu, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, and Rabiu Kwankwaso of the NNPP. In a chart for Solutions 93.9 FM, Dexter said with the growing endorsement, opinion polls, and followership, Labour Party will beat all the candidates to the seat of power.
Politics is a game of numbers. There is no vote that is superior to any other vote. A vote is a vote, no matter who the person who is voting is. Today, except any one of us does not want to face reality, there is no one that has the numbers that Peter Obi and the Labour Party have. They may have more politicians on their side, but the votes that will count on February 25 is not just the politicians' vote, it is the Nigerian vote. And if you look at the things that Peter Obi and the Labour Party has done, there is no other politician that can repeat it. Is it the self-funded campaigns, the self-funded rallies that they have done with the tremendous numbers that we are seeing? What other politician can do that without mobilizing with funds politicians to come out and do that? And they can't even get their figures, even if they mobilize.
Femi Dexter speaking there. And that's the roundup.
Radio is all about information, education, and entertainment.
Maybe that's before now. Solutions 93.9 FM has raised the standard of radio broadcast to preferring solutions in all human angle. 939 FM, the remedy.
Nigeria. Let's save Nigeria so Nigeria won't die. I bet this has become a song I love to play every show, every program I do, because that question is so germane, so pertinent. In 1984, 38 years ago, Sonny Okosu did this song, and the lyrics are still so applicable. Well, which way Nigeria? That is going to be a decision in the hands of each and every one of us. I have in the studio with me this afternoon a political scientist and a public affairs analyst, and to boot, he teaches. Yes. So you can understand that combination and why I have him in the studio with us this afternoon to do an in-depth analysis before the final rushes. We are in the final rushes now, and then we're going to have the home run. So we're going to be doing this in phases. This is the first one. There will be a mid-phase analysis, and another one a few days before the election on February 25. I have within the studio Mr. Badejoko Adesunbo. It's a pleasure to have you here this afternoon.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to be here again.
Yes.
Good afternoon, our listeners. Happy New Year to all of us.
Yes, it's I call it an old New Year. This is the 5th day of January. It is an old New Year. So everybody should pick up the gauntlet and, like Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Well, the first edition of the program.
Yes, it's the first edition of the program. I agree with you. Yes, you are right there. but the train has moved out of the terminal. So let's go. Well, here we are, 2023, 51 days. This time last year, we were talking about political party primaries. That was what was in the mouth of everybody. The primaries are over. The elections are knocking at the door. And the presidential candidates, the governorship candidates, all the candidates are moving about doing their thing. But of course, there are what I call the underlying factors. The underlying factor, insecurity, economic ill health, and all sorts of sundry issues. As far as you are concerned, are the candidates, are they addressing this what I call the underlying factor? Nigeria, the IMF says, has 133 million people multidimensionally poor. Are the candidates addressing these issues that are of serious concern to Nigerians? Are they? Especially the governorship and the other candidates.
They are. It's just that
seriously enough,
they are not seriously enough, because there are so many distractions that comes in between. Distraction in terms of throwing jibes at each other's personality, wanting to bring down the opponents in whichever way, and there are so many internal squabbles that are still bedeviling some of these parties, and these are the distractions. But once in a while, when they have opportunity to address town hall and even the media, they do speak to the issues.
Now, let's take a look at the candidates. The presidential and national assembly elections are the very first we are having. Let's take a look at the ones we will call the major candidates. NNPP, Labour Party, that is Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso, Peter Obi, Atiku Abubakar of the PDP, and Bola Ahmed Tinubu of the APC. Let's take a look at, as we speak today, the 5th of January, where is their location in this race? Let's start with Rabiu Musa Kwakwanso.
He's been doing what he started about late last year, mobilizing at the grassroots, putting structures in place. Don't forget, NNPP is a new party, so to speak, not newly formed, but an emerging platform, just like the Labour Party, not newly formed, but is also an emerging platform. They are not in a way, like, you can't compare them to the established platforms that they will be running against.
Which are the established platforms?
The PDP and the APC, of course.
Okay.
Those are the established platform, because what they have to their advantage, these two parties are just putting them up now.
What are those?
Structures.
When you say structures, what do you mean?
I mean grassroots mobilizers.
Grassroots mobilizers.
All across the 8,080 wards of the local governments, within the federation. And even within these 8,080 wards, we still have polling units numbering 174,000 plus or thereabouts. So when you have that, you need to have people that will represent your interests in all of these places. Let's round the polling units up to 175,000 approximately. Now, do you have die-hard followers numbering that amount of people, that will pursue your cause of the ambition that you are having? That's what I mean by structure. The established ones have people in all of these places that will definitely stand in for them. The only issue they may have is the internal squabbles. And where you have that, there's polarization, like you mentioned in your opening remark. Now, whichever faction that the man at the polling unit belongs to determines what would happen. But where there is no polarization, definitely everybody will be on the same page, and they will be pursuing the same agenda.
What is the role of a polling agent? People just come and vote.
Not just the polling agent is the main, is the one that protects the interests of the party at that level.
How does he do that?
Yes, he does that by ensuring that none of the opposition parties that are present, his opponent agents on ground, does anything to circumvent the interests of his own principal. Like, they have their familiar people that they know these ones are in our camp. But of course, we are in the era of vote buying. Part of their duty is to ensure that Nobody buys those people over to their side.
No, it looks like so it's not just anyone that can become a polling agent.
No. It's not just anyone. It must be someone that has been on ground within the locality, must be a registered member of that political party, and is trusted to a large extent.
Talking about LMPP and Labour, especially I hear from Labour people, say some of them, I think I even have seen the stickers. I am the structure. What does that mean?
But they are just expressing their opinion. They are trying to think outside of the box, thinking that, well, that Nigeria has evolved to the level at which they want to go about this coming election. And as far as some of us are concerned, and if you listen very carefully to what Chief Afe Babalola says, he is indirectly telling them that, well, your candidate may be popular, some people may have endorsed him, but he cannot match this opponent strong enough. Definitely, he's not going to win the election.
I am the structure. Then, if I believe I am the structure, of course, which in essence means we are the structure. People like us are the structure, for instance, and I'm ready to, ensure.
How much of these people selling that narrative are in the villages? When we say 175,000 polling units, they are not all in the city centers. In fact, we virtually had less than 80,000 of them in the city. Majority are in the villages. Now, there are so many villages that do not have internet penetration, meaning that social media life is completely absent. So whatever you do on the social media, they are not aware. But the grassroots mobilizer, the real structure, knows this very location. Or you go to the creeks in the Niger Delta, where you have to use a canoe or a boat to get to the remote area. Votes come from all these places.
In essence, we can say they don't understand the game yet. They do not.
They do, and even there is a confusion in their choice of candidates. You know about these people are youth, and they are saying they want a youth to take over. And I see them bypassing Omoyele Sowore to Peter Obi, and I ask myself question: are you people serious?
He is not a member of Omoyele Sowore. Is not a member of the party.
He is younger,
but he's not a member of the party.
He relates with them more. When the Hensas, what gave birth to the movement was the Hensas protest. Maybe he was the only person on ground among all the contestants that identified with them. Why did they bypass him? Which means some people are doing
He did not present himself.
He did.
To the Labour Party?
No. Don't forget that what we have as Labour Party now was meant to be a third force.
Yeah.
And alliance of every other 16 political parties. Something went wrong along the line. And what went wrong was other stalwarts of the other platform were not comfortable with the imposition of Peter Obi on them. So they just simply parted ways. Okay. They wanted to fuse together, present a formidable candidate that will be credibly elected. But when the process just jumped in and he emerged, others felt, what kind of thing is that? And they began to conduct their respective primaries. And that's why we have several candidates as we speak.
Okay. But which in essence means that those other parties, not established as they were, they have some lessons to learn in the political, they have some lessons, hard lessons. I do hope
this election will give them the opportunity to learn that lesson, especially the Labour Party.
So they are evolving. Yeah. Now, the established parties, as you put it. So, what's their location in these processes?
They are moving around as we speak. The G5 are in Ibadan. As you mentioned earlier, I passed through their base on my way down here deliberately just to have a first-hand information of what is going on there. I saw the mammoth crowd. I saw heavy followership, which speaks volume. And I was asking myself, if these people are not with their presidential candidate, there's a problem in this state.
How do you mean? Please break that down.
Exactly. Politics is about numbers.
Yeah.
Numbers determines electoral victory.
Yeah.
And in Oyo State, the last time in 2019, Atiku Abubakar won in Oyo State.
He did, yeah.
And those are the people that voted for him.
Yeah.
Now, half of these people are with their governor. They are there because of the governor, who seems not to be on the same page with Atiku Abubakar. So if he loses that number, he should just forget the presidential election in Oyo State. Now he has 4 other colleagues who are together in their respective states, Rivers being one of them. Rivers, when we talk of Nigerian elections, especially at the presidential level, Rivers should be number 4 or 5. That gives the highest
of votes.
Yes, that gives it in terms of voter turnout. It should be, it's in first 5. When you pick Lagos and the KKK, Rivers is the next.
Kano Katsina.
Yeah. So when you look at that, and Oyo is key in Southwest, just put Lagos aside. You know, it has its own status special. But when you pick Oyo, the next is, when you pick Lagos, the next is Oyo State. And you have the governor not on the same page with the presidential candidate of his own party, meaning that he may likely pull those chunk to support another candidate. So whosoever candidate he is likely to support will have a numerical advantage against the PDP candidate in Oyo State. So that is what I mean.
Do you think the governor has that clout?
From what I saw today, I want to believe so. Because these are politicians. Don't forget, he has some interest group that are also supporting him, the pensioners, for instance, and a significant number of the workforce. And these are people that are, you know, they belong to households. They have influence on certain number of people. By the time you add the numbers, it seems to be a little bit stronger. But of course, in politics, the governorship election, as far as Oyo State is concerned, is a different ballgame.
It's a different ballgame.
The national election, in any way, has never really influenced the governorship election in Oyo State.
They play it separately.
Yeah, they do.
No bandwagon effect here.
Yes. So that is one thing that the governor needs to be cautious of, and
break that down, please.
Because there are factions in his party. Yesterday, we had a similar event. Some people within the same party,
the Oyele says the Bola Rumi is the Akinjide.
Yes, the Akinjide is marching for their presidential candidates.
Yeah.
The same political party.
The governor was holding a meeting. And they passed through the secretariat. In fact, they more or less blocked the secretariat with the crowd that were there. Because I also deliberately, find myself around that event to get the first-hand information. So when you look at all of that, separate people, they really need to come together to determine his electoral victory. If that number should go join the opposition, then the opposition becomes strengthened. So that is what I mean. Now, these people that are with Atiku, they are the traditional PDP people. Bola Rumi, people who have never left PDP or have never crossed from the Akinjides, the Oyeleses, the Jogo, Femi Babalolas. They have never left PDP. They have never romanced any other party in their political career. Are they solid?
The fact that they refuse to be bullied by the governor shows that they are solid. And the fact that they're still able to organize themselves independent of the governor shows that, of course, the governor really needs to be careful and he should take them seriously. Yes, there's still always room for reconciliation. Even as we speak, I still do not believe that the governor will not work for Atiku Abubakar.
He actually said yesterday that he will not work against PDP. What does that mean?
Of course, it speaks volume. It means that along the line, maybe their attempts to negotiate with the other contenders for the presidential race may not really be working the way, because when you look at the only person that can beat his chest to say, I want to go anywhere, is Governor Wike. Now, even Governor Wike has interest in his governorship election of his state because he wants his man, that is the PDP candidate, to emerge. Now, if he's romancing the APC, for instance, the APC has a governorship candidate in Toye Priestwill within Rivers State. Now, this is another popular person that is having the backing of the minister, former minister of transport with him. So if he's not careful...
The elections are not the same day.
And the elections are not the same day.
Yeah.
If peradventure the candidate of APC won the presidential election and he did not support them, that means he has to do everything he can.
And he did not support them. Okay, and Wike does not did not support APC.
Yes, I'm just we are just
yes scenarios. We are painting scenarios.
Yeah, so that means it will be difficult for him to convince the other people to work for his own candidates. It will be every man for himself. So if it plays out that way, his candidate will still stand a chance anyway, because he is smart enough to recruit of recent 200,000 hates that are on his payroll.
Does that translate to 200,000 votes?
It will.
It will translate to 200,000.
In the Rivers State setting, it will.
It will.
Yeah.
It's home and dry. Now in Oyo State, because Wike has talked so much that he has not stated where he is really. He has said terrible things about APC. He said terrible things about Atiku Abubakar and PDP. He's not also spared. It's not as if he has spared Labour. But in Oyo State, our governor has been tactical and strategic in the way he speaks. But at the same time, we have seen him send his deputy to where Tinubu was endorsed by Baba Fashola, so to say. And, is he being strategic in his approach?
He has to.
Or or he's not sure what he wants to do?
He has to, knowing the nature of the state he governs and the political behavior of his people. He needs to know and understand the prevailing sentiments on ground as far as that election is concerned. And he would not want to go contrary to the prevailing sentiments. It's to affect his own ambition.
What are his options? What are his options for the presidential elections?
Well, 3. Is either he goes, he maintains his state, is either he goes with his party's candidate, which is Atiku Abubakar, or he maintains the stance of the G5, which is a southern presidential candidate. And if he does that, he has 2 options there, which is either Asiwaju, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, or the Labour candidate, party candidate, that's Peter Obi. So he would, and if he's going for Asiwaju, he will consider so many things. Labour Party, APC has a strong governorship candidate in the state that will contend against him in the next election. Now, are they going to now work together for the presidential candidate and go their separate ways when it comes to the governorship? And if you decide to go for the Labour Party candidate, luckily, the Labour Party does not have a governorship candidate that I know.
Oh, in Oyo State?
In Oyo State.
Oh, please, I do. He's been here. I interviewed him.
Well, people do not know him.
He currently works at the presidency of an APC government.
Well, people do not know him, so he may be a decoy, kind of. So, because if you are working and you are contesting for such an office, the law says you must resign. So that's the thing, and if he's not resigning, he's still working according to what you're saying, and he's still a candidate in the election, I may be seeing a decoy here. The last time INEC released the list of candidates, the name was not there. So probably
so many names
they are the supplementary list.
Yeah. Now, let's take a look at this scenario. The governor supports Tinubu presidential election. 2 weeks after, that's a long time.
Yeah.
If it used to be a 1 week thing, but now we have 2 weeks.
The reason why they make 2 weeks is to give room for the possibility of a rerun.
Now, 2 weeks is a lot of time to shore up support or to turn the tide, as it were. Let's say a scenario, the governor supports Bola Ahmed Tinubu wins. What will he be telling PDP people here? The PDP faction in Oyo State that are supporting Atiku, what are they likely to do? If the governor supports Tinubu and Tinubu wins, what are they likely to do?
Well, there are possibilities. The governor may deny the support. That probably other political parties were the ones that ganged up against the PDP at that level, which will be difficult to dispel or he owns up and calls their bluff. And if he does that, it means he's telling the other group to go find that he doesn't need them, so to speak. Just like Atiku Abubakar is doing currently by putting up a parallel structure in the state of the G5 governors, you understand, that are running his campaign for him. So, and if he goes ahead to say that he doesn't need them, they are excused from his own campaign, then it becomes a case of his own word against their own word.
Are they likely? These are traditional PDP people.
Of course.
Yes, we have seen, the fact is that in 2015, Akinjide was a city minister. Of course, he supported his presidential candidate. She did not support the governorship candidate on ground here. She was, in fact, they were penalized for anti-party activities. She and one other person. Now, that scenario, what will it take the governor to move the people in his support, the people that love him in Oyo State?
He will have to, ensure that the sentiments that will now be prevailing as at the time of the governorship elections will be in his favor. And he will have to mend fences. Of course, not everybody within that camp would be on the same page. There are still some that could still be bought over. Some who are really interested in the governorship because they know they will see it from the angle, the perspective of the fact that they have lost out in the presidential election. If they don't support their governor, that means they will lose out completely.
Let me now interject and give you an issue here. Raise an issue. The joggers, the Bola Rumis, the Akinjides, who is the later day appearance, and the former minister, all of them, they are the traditional Oyelese and other people. They are the traditional old PDP people. Teslim Folarin is one of them, whether he's in APC or not. Could they probably see Tessie as more reliable and more one of them than the governor and align with him, even if he's in APC?
There's a possibility.
He's a Molete, graduate of Molete.
Anything
and
is possible.
They will probably trust him more. That this is one of us. This is the way we used to do it. You know the way they do their thing in Molete? That's not, the governor is not doing it that way. That is why he has challenges with the politician. Could those old guard PDP, feel more affinity and affiliation towards Tessie, in spite of the fact that he's in APC? Could that happen?
It could happen.
He is one of them.
He is one of them. It could happen, and that is even one of the reasons why his emergence had polarized the APC within the state, because they never saw him as a core progressive, as one.
In reality, the old guard PDP has seized the APC in Oyo State. That is the reality.
Yes, that is the reality. So, but let's now look at those that are non-politicians, who also constitute significant number.
Much more than politicians.
Yes, of the electorate.
Yeah.
Now, these are the people that I said the governor will have to appeal to their sentiments.
Who are these people? Okay.
The pensioners, the workforce within the state, those trade union groups like the market women and all those other associations, the artisans. This group of people, the transport union, they are factionalized, but at least he has a majority to his side. Those controlled by the park management system.
PMS.
Yeah. So all this group of people too, they have role to play in the election. And if they are with the governor stands a slight chance to emerge victorious, because that means every other group that are outside of these ones that have been itemized would be shared. Don't forget, there's a Penkeleme somewhere who is also a strong contender,
a very strong factor
in the election. And having come out of the APC would be dividing the APC votes as well, even though Tessie may stand a chance of getting the polarized group of the PDP. But which other group outside of politicians would be with these other people?
If you're a politician, if you are a strategist, the governor's main political strategist, what will you be telling him?
I'll be telling him to
for the presidential election, or everything together. You know, if you do this presidential election, these are the possibilities. This is the scenario that's likely to unfold.
I'll tell him that he needs to be smart enough to be sure that whosoever he supports at the presidential level is the one that will win.
Okay.
And how will he do that?
He has to support the winning
He
candidate.
needs to find out the chances of all the major candidates, especially the three of them that we've been talking about, in every of the states. And it's easy for him to do that. He's a sitting governor.
Yeah.
He can find out to know, okay, in my state, in this state, in this state, in this state, if this person could win 18 states out of 36, he's already the president.
Now.
So that means he will just be the 19 states. And if he already has a president, one thing about that is that he will never lose out in the election. Even if he loses his own governorship election, there will always be something reserved at the national level for him.
Okay, that's very smart. Now let's take a story from today. Of course, 5th January, the governorship, the governor of Oyo State is launching his second-term bid at Makpo Hall. And of course, the other 4 members of G5, they have worked in synergy, they have attended each other's events, held meetings, and all of that. They are here in Ibadan. Let's listen to the G5 members speaking at Makpo Hall. Do stay tuned.
I know that what you will see in the next 4 years is far greater than what you have seen already. And I pray that Almighty God will be upon all your people. And we believe that 2023, Oyo will deliver Sheikh Makinde back to government house. He has not disappointed. He has done well. He is a truthful person, a man who believes in fairness, equity, and justice. And so we believe that by the grace of God, he will come back to government house 2023. We want to assure you that the Integrity Group and the G5 governors are committed members of PDP in our various states. We have a challenge with the national leadership of our party because they have failed to deploy its internal conflict resolution mechanism to solve the problems that arose after the convention. You already know that Sheikh Makinde has done well since you gave him the mandate in 2019. And therefore, the only way we can appreciate more, that Oyo will benefit more, is for him to go back and complete the good work he has started. And that is why he will say, Sheyi 1, Sheyi 2, Sheyi, 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 Sheyi 6, Sheyi 7, Sheyi 8.
Thank you so much for staying with us. Solution 93.9 FM is the station, and Political Update is the show this afternoon. The conversation continues with Mr. Badijuku Adesumbo, and we are looking at Nigeria's political landscape, especially with the complications arising from the internal rifts that emanated from the primaries of the political parties, especially as regards the G5, the PDP of the G5 of PDP, and the configuration of Oyo State. Well, that was a G5, 2 of them speaking. Wike spoke, was the second person to speak. He said, Sheyi 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Well, of course, when these things, the scenario for the governor in Oyo State is definitely a dicey process. But I agree in totality with you that he must back the winning horse, so that whichever way the gubernatorial, for the presidency, he must back the winning horse, so that wherever the dice swings in the gubernatorial, he will not lose out completely. Let's move to the presidential level. Bola Ahmed Tinubu was in Kano yesterday. I had some of my friends posting Kano is a go. Is Kano a go for APC? We have Kwakwanso there. And we have the Atiku Abubakar influence there too.
if you want to compare the rallies that the three parties have organized in Kanu, if you want to go by that, you can say Kanu is a go. But of course, as a political scientist, I don't believe in the crowd at the rallies.
They call them Eru. And people keep telling me that Eru is different from a crowd is different from the people.
Exactly, because those that constitute the crowd includes the following: politicians, support group from all the 36 states of the Federation, including the FCT, gathered at Kanu to now join the local forces.
That's the way it goes.
Yes, to join the local forces. So before you can begin to conclude, subtract
all those
visitors
FCTs
from the crowd. Whatever you have left are the ones that you can say, okay, these are our voters. You cannot nobody, even they themselves, cannot underrate the influence of Kwankwanso in Kano State. They can't. They dare not do that.
Shekarau has gone back to
PDP.
PDP.
Shekarau is not as strong as Kwankwanso.
He's got his own people.
Yeah, but the thing is, even my own personal prediction is that, well, APC will win narrowly and Kwankwanso will come second in Kano State.
Is there any possibility of Shekarau throwing his weight behind Bola Ahmed Tinubu? Or is it too late?
It's too late.
It's too late.
Though it's not too late, but he has been accepted within the PDP, so except he wants to pull out again. Kwankwanso. Yes, it's not too late for that. Even as we speak,
his voters.
As we speak, they are still talking.
He openly said that he was going to withdraw from the race for anyone. It is going to be Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
Yeah, that is him hinting us because except he wants to deceive himself. If he goes ahead in the election, he will be coming distant fourth.
Atiku Abubakar, the presidential his entourage moving around the state is, believe you me, the Atiku Abubakar that we used to know in the political landscape, I'm not seeing that energy. I'm not seeing that vibe. And I'm not even seeing the Atiku razzmatazz. What is happening? What's happening?
Because he knows he's dealing with somebody. When he was coming into the election, he was coming with the hope that the APC ranks and his loyalists within the APC will do everything they can to prevent Bola Ahmed Tinubu from winning the ticket.
Did they try?
They did. But because the man was smarter than them, they did try. They tried well enough. So he had believed that it would be another person that will emerge. And if that had happened, even if the vice president was given the ticket, it would have still been an easy thing up north for Atiku Abubakar. He would have seen more of the vibes that you're talking about. But for now, he's looking at this man. He knows him. They know each other very, very well. They were together in 1993. They were together in 2007. So they understand each other's game. They know both strengths and weaknesses of each other. And he's now facing him. Is one opponent he did not expect to have in this election. And that is the reality setting him. So when you see him slowing down, he's just being cautious. He doesn't want to lose too much.
What do you mean?
Losing the election and also losing too much money. That's what I mean by losing too much. That's what I mean by losing too much. And you know the campaign time now has been expanded because of the new electoral law. 6 months instead of 3. That's a long period. And that's why you see Asiwaju people not getting him, say he's not appearing before media. He has strategically prepared a schedule that will incorporate all these things at the right moment. That was the information some people close to him had given. And people out there do not understand. They say, but he's moving around, he's campaigning. When it comes to the media, he will appear before the media. That was what the man told me. And I said, okay, no problem, but he should make it haste before people will make up their mind. Now, to Atiku Abubakar, that period means more money. And that's why even when you look at the Labour Party, the campaign seems to be, how will I put it now? Is appearing to be going moribund. You know, that initial energy that greeted his emergence is whistling down. It's no longer
They may be
like
consolidating.
When consolidation is going on, you will still be feeling, you know, that sense, but it's not there. It's just like people are, even those who were, you know, trying to be religiously sentimental, are beginning to, like, you know, withdraw kind of to really look, because of the timing. You understand?
Are you writing Atiku Abubakar off in this election?
Of course, you can't write him off. His party is strong.
Wike was.
They have presence in all the places that we've talked about earlier, and that is a very important point of strength.
And looking at it again, Wike was Wike, the way he talks, he says somebody in the presidency is promising Atiku Abubakar is going to win the elections. Can they not be trusted? Can Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu trust the North when they say they are with him?
The North themselves knows that their integrity is at stake as far as Asiwaju's case is concerned, because that was the music that his running mate, not knowing that he will eventually pick him, talking about Kasim Shettima. That was the music he was playing to their ears, build up to the primaries. That come 2014, himself and all of you gathered here did not support Buhari. Kwankwanzo was our man. It was this man that made Buhari to emerge and win the tickets ahead of Atiku Abubakar. And if you go back to that primaries, Atiku actually came distant third. It was Kwankwanzo that came second. Yeah. Now, and he was making them to understand that, this man did a lot of things. Eventually, his hand was cut off from the whole thing, but he stood. This is his time for him to be paid back. It's payback time for him. Don't paint the North, give the North a betrayal coloration. That was what he was telling them. Sometimes in Hausa, he will speak English where he needs to speak, and they understood.
Why did Atiku Abubakar and the entire PDP machine, why did they commit such a blunder in terms of, the argument that PDP had spent 16 years and the South had spent 14 out of those 16 years. Therefore, it is the turn of the North. Why, as if the Buhari here now is not from the North? Why did they commit such a blunder, and APC is capitalizing on it?
They didn't see it as blunder when it was being committed. They look at the North will always pursue the cause of the North. That the North will not see a Northerner on the ballot against the Southerner and cast for the Southerner. That was what
he even said that in Kaduna. Atiku Abubakar is alleged to have said such a thing in Kaduna.
Yes, that was what they were leveraging all those things on. And of course, it worked in their favor, because within the PDP context, they actually had some points. But where they bungled the whole thing, where the gain became loss or losses, was the refusal of Iyorchia Ayu to step down.
Wow, that is the sore point. Yes, thank you so much. Solution 93.9 FM is the station, and of course, Political Update is the show this afternoon. I've been in conversation in the past 45, 50 minutes or thereabout with Mr. Badejoko Adesumo, a very familiar face. We started this program together, I think, in February or thereabout. Yes, you'll be seeing more of him at least 2 more times before we go to election on 25th February. And of course, we'll be doing the analysis together after the elections. Of course, it has been a deep and insightful and engaging one with you, Mr. Badejoko Adesumo. Thank you so much for honoring the invite for you to be here. Yes, it's a wrap on Political Update this afternoon. It's been Ayodiji Ajishokwe presenting with favor, Oloruntola with a lot of flavor, producing me. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our union. Bye for now.